You are driving your diesel rig and you notice that the exhaust smoke is looking a bit thicker than usual, your fuel economy is starting to tank, and then that dreaded orange engine light ruins your afternoon. When you plug in your scan tool and find code P037F, your truck is shouting about an intermittent fault with the nitrogen oxide sensor on bank 1. Now, do not let that technical name throw you off. We are talking about the NOx sensor, which is a critical piece of technology that acts like a high-tech nose inside your exhaust pipe. Its job is to sniff out the hydrocarbons and nitrogen oxides to make sure your engine is complying with those incredibly strict emissions laws. Since diesel engines produce a lot of soot and particulate matter, the environment inside that exhaust pipe is one of the dirtiest places on the entire vehicle. Over thousands of miles, that soot can literally cake onto the sensor tip, creating a thick crust that prevents it from getting an accurate reading. When the ECM or the engine brain gets an erratic signal from this sensor, it loses its ability to adjust the fuel trims and the emission system correctly, which is why your idle might feel a bit rough or your power levels start to dip. The severity of this code is usually low compared to something like a brake failure, but you really do not want to ignore it because it can lead to your truck failing an emissions test or even entering a restricted crawl mode. Your first diagnostic move should be a visual check under the chassis. I have seen countless cases where a stray rock or a chunk of ice has physically smashed the sensor or ripped the wiring harness. These wires often run right along the exhaust, so look for any spots where the insulation has melted or charred from the extreme heat. If you decide to remove the sensor for cleaning, be extremely careful because they go through so many heat cycles that they love to seize in the exhaust bung. A little bit of penetrating oil and some gentle heat on the threads can save you from stripping the whole. If the sensor is physically intact but covered in soot, sometimes a good long highway run can help burn off that debris, but if the internal electronics are failing intermittently, replacing that sensor is the only way to get your clean diesel roar back and stop that acrid smoke from ruining your commute.